perfumes are such a personal topic, and we know that a smell can instantly fly you into a situation in the past or a specific person you associate with this smell. So for me, that is just a beautiful thing. And I have some perfumes that are super nostalgic to me and that are still in my collection. They are in a kind of vault, so I don't have them with me. I don't take them out because they are so special to me, but I still wanted to talk about them with you. And I'm so curious to hear which perfumes are that to you. So let's start out with randomly one, and that is Acqua di Gioia by Giorgio Armani. So the story is that I had my first big girl job, but it was not really well paid. And so I was living with my friends at the time, and we had such an amazing time. It was so lovely. We were super young, in our early 20s, and having a lot of fun, working, being like really eager, but still having fun. And my friend was always into perfumes, and she wore this perfume, Acqua di Gioia, and she had it in her cabinet. And I saw it and I felt like this was the most beautiful perfume bottle I've ever seen. I love the caps from Armani. They still have those. And I smelled the perfume and I was so intrigued because it smelled like nothing I've ever smelled before. And still to this day, there are not a lot of perfumes in my collection or that I smell that smell like Acqua di Gioia. So with my first paycheck, I immediately bought it with my own money, which was like a super big step for me because I did not grow up with having a lot of designer perfumes or designer perfumes at all. And so for me, this was like a really big step. I felt so good and I loved it so much that I used it all up, and I got I think it was like an essence or something, and I used that one up as well. And after that, I was a little bit fed up with it because I wore it so much. But for me, I am not one who uses perfumes up and goes out and buys the same thing again and again and again. It rarely happens, let's put it like that. So the main accords here are aromatic, citrus, and green. And the top notes are Amalfi lemon, mint, water jasmine in the middle, and base notes brown sugar and French labdanum. That sounds super unique to me as well. And mint perfumes back in the day I never heard about. So this to me was just like really special. And as I said, it still is. To me, it's mostly quite a synthetic saltiness going on. And it's like a salty jasmine. Then you have this green, refreshing aspect from the mint and this bright citrus thing going on from the lemon. And that is basically what I get. I don't really get a lot of those base notes. To me, it's all about the top and the middle. And what I loved about this perfume is it was super refreshing, but it wasn't just like a citrusy summer perfume. So I think I was living there in spring, maybe, and I wore it all throughout spring, but I also wore it in the summertime and into the fall time. And it was good like that because it was refreshing and like a fresh perfume, but not too much. It did have some depth, and I think it must be the base notes, but to me they were not prominent notes. They were just grounding the perfume, and it was quite a strong perfume. So I could smell myself for hours and hours, and also people could smell me. So good performance, good longevity, good sillage. I don't know about it right now because this was a long time ago, but I don't know. Every time I see someone talking about this line, I'm super happy. I did try a flanker of this. Was it maybe like Terra di Gioia or something like that? And I didn't really fall in love with it, but maybe I have to investigate a little bit because that one I still hold so close to my heart. Next up, oh my God, I just thought about another one. I will quickly tell you about that one because that was, I think, literally my second perfume that I got when I was 13 and I was in Paris with school. And we were walking past a shop called Yves Rocher. And they had simple one-note perfumes, vanilla, fruity perfumes, I guess. I don't know. They were like really colorful. But I went straight to the vanilla perfume, smelled it, fell in love with it, bought it there and then. And I love this perfume. And I was so proud of myself for getting it in Paris. I felt so good about it. And I loved the vanilla in there. I think it is quite a unrefined vanilla, but I don't know exactly, but because that was maybe, when was it? In 2004? Yeah, a long time ago. But anyway, that vanilla perfume was so good to me back then. But when I came back, we had The Body Shop opening in a city near us. And we were all over The Body Shop. I love the idea. I always loved scents, and to have the set of the body butter and the scrub and the shower gel and the perfume, it was like heaven to me. And I smelled white musk and I was head over heels. And I have to tell you, and this was also a long time ago, maybe 2005, I still love this perfume and I would still wear it. And actually, my husband has the men's version of the White Musk perfume in his collection currently. It's quite unisex. I could wear it as well, and we both love it. So the main accords are obviously musky, powdery, and white floral. It's so funny because I think I told you already that when I was younger, I wore quite mature, powdery, elegant perfumes. And now I'm a lot more playful and light when it comes to perfumes. But if I see the notes in those perfumes, I'm laughing because some of them are so deep and mature to me. The top notes are musk, lily, ylang ylang, galbanum, and basil. The middle notes are again musk, lily, jasmine, and rose. And then the base notes, we also have the musk, iris, jasmine, oak moss, amber, vanilla, rose, vetiver, patchouli, and peach. That sounds so crazy to me right now, but it actually was never like a dense 90s or 80s kind of perfume that was quite complex and in your face. It was always like a skin scent to me, and for me it was the blueprint for so many skin scents, your skin but better, and also those molecule-like perfumes. I think a lot of them pulled their inspiration from this, and of course other musk perfumes that were there back in the day. But this one is just, for me, the cleanest musk scent ever. It's slightly powdery, but not too much. It's quite creamy. You have these beautiful white florals that are not sharp, not really, as I said, pulling towards a very elegant way. It's quite easy to wear, easy to understand. It never appeared very complex to me, and it was just a straight up love at first sniff. I smelled it for the first time and I was like, it was like that. And I immediately got a bottle. I think my mom got me a bottle, and I had this perfume over and over and over again. That was one of these perfumes that I could use up because it wasn't too expensive and that I was never tired of. And I still to this day love milky, light, musky scents, and white musk especially. And I really thought about getting white musk again. And I'm not too sure about the Body Shop right now in this day and age, but if I could get it right now, I think I would. It's beautiful. Then let's talk about a perfume I never really seriously wore. I just always had it for a nostalgic reason, and I wore it, let's say, a couple of times in my life, but it's super nostalgic and dear to my heart. So this is Maroussia by Slava Zaitsev, and this one is the perfume my mom wore in the 90s. So the main accords are powdery, amber, and woody, and it has a lot of notes and a lot of similar notes to other perfumes from that period. So on the top we have aldehydes, orange blossom, peach, and bergamot. In the middle we have carnation, ylang ylang, tuberose, heliotrope, iris, jasmine, rose, orchid, lily of the valley. And in the base we have civet, sandalwood, amber, benzoin, vanilla, musk, tonka bean, and cedar. So it's quite complex, but to me it was never like a oh my god complex perfume. It was always such a smooth but like very distinct scent. I always, when I smelled it, I was so sure about the perfume being Maroussia. And I feel like quite a lot of perfumes have a bit of Maroussia in them. And every time I smell one of those, I'm like immediately so happy. But it is such a dense and seductive scent. I don't know if this was like the everyday scent of my mom, because to me, if I see the top, it seems like a fruity, floral, quite fresh scent. But when you see the base notes, you know it's gonna be quite dense and heavy. And to me, it smells mostly like the base notes. I do get this animalic vibe. It's very ambery. You have the vanilla, you have resins, you have creaminess. It's quite, as I said, seductive, it's alluring, but it's not too heavy to the point that I could not wear it. So I think all of those florals and the fresh top notes make it more wearable, but to me it's very specific to that time period. It's not a timeless perfume anybody can wear anytime. But I don't know, I love the bottle, I love how it smells. It's such a unique scent to me, and it's so funny because my mom nowadays wears basically only very floral, fresh scents. And that is the extreme opposite of Maroussia. Next up, we have Infusion d'Iris by Prada. So imagine the same kind of situation than with the Armani one. I think it was maybe a little bit later, and I was in the capital, and I was with a friend who was a little bit older than me, and she had a job, she had everything going for her, and I was looking up to her. And we were in a perfumery, like a big, more so department store. And we were looking at makeup and perfume, and she told me about all of her favorites, and I just fell in love with everything she showed me. So that day I got my first high-end lipstick, which was, funnily enough, the most classic red lipstick by Dior. I forget the number, I think it's either like 999 or something like that. Very classic red lipstick. I still have it to this day. Yep, that tells you a lot about me. But she got Infusion d'Iris by Prada that day, and she was like, oh, this smells so good, what do you think of it? And I thought, oh my god, this is the most heavenly scent ever. And then maybe like a year or two later, I was a student, I had 2 jobs, and I saw this for a really great sale, and I thought, oh my god, I remembered the situation and I got it. And I have to tell you, I got it, I wore it quite a bit, and then it was a little bit too much for me. And it still is a little bit too much going into a specific direction, but the scent itself to me is a masterpiece. So the main accords are iris, woody, and amber. And the notes are orange flower, neroli, orange, mandarin in the top, middle notes, iris, galbanum, mastic, and the base notes, cedar, incense, benzoin, and vetiver. And this to me is not a really complex perfume. To me, iris is such a unique, beautiful, and interesting note in itself, the flower in itself. And this one to me is quite a clean, almost, if you say like white musk, this to me is like a white iris. It's clean, it's creamy, it's buttery, and it's powdery. It's not a light and airy scent, but it also is not a super dense, heavy scent, but it is substantial. And I think the iris for me was always a little bit too much. And you see all of those notes, but I don't really get them. To me, it's mostly about the iris, actually. And I think if I would have smelled more of the orange flower, the neroli and the oranges, this would have been like a perfect balance of these more dense powdery notes, but I did not really get that on my skin. So I still have it, but I don't really wear it. But they have so many flankers or bottles in this collection, and I like a lot of them because they always smell a lot like each other with this added vanilla, ylang ylang, almonds, and so on. And there is one new one with rhubarb, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. And the last one, which is also so emotional for me, so nostalgic, and I always have such happy feelings when I see it. It's actually Coco Mademoiselle by Chanel. So, as I said, it's so funny because this was a perfume I wore, or I got and wore when I was 16, turning 17. Yeah, so long time ago, and such an interesting choice for a 16-year-old girl. The main accords are citrus, woody, and patchouli. And the top notes are orange, mandarin, bergamot, orange blossom. The middle notes are rose, jasmine, mimosa, and ylang ylang. And the base notes are patchouli, white musk, vanilla, vetiver, tonka bean, and opoponax. I could not tell you what this exactly smells like. To me, it's such a specific perfume, and it's well blended. I don't really get just the orange or just the ylang ylang, but it's almost like a fruit chuli that is more so citrusy fruits than other fruits, with a lot of powdery floral touches. That is what I get. And I don't know why. I think I was just obsessed with Coco Chanel when I was younger. I wanted to be a designer, and I just loved the idea of a Chanel perfume. And I went to the store, smelled Chanel No. 5 and was like, no, actually not. And wasn't Keira Knightley the face for the perfume? For Chanel back then, it was quite new. Let's put it like that. And I just love the idea. And I feel like I was imagining in my head, like, okay, Keira Knightley is wearing it, or like a star is wearing it, and this is what French chicness smells like. And the story was that I was doing my driver's license, and in Germany it is quite hard. I know in other places it's not as hard, and you do it when you are 18, or you do it when you're 17 turning 18, and once you're 18 you can drive. But I was the first generation where they had like a driver's license with when you are 16, so you could do it maybe when you're 15 or something like that. I don't know. Either way, I was a minor, and I could only drive with one of my parents at my side. I could not drive by myself. But I really wanted to do it as soon as I could. So I really wanted to do it. And a lot of my friends and everyone around me tells me I did not pass the test. So I'm always thinking like, wow, I did such a good job. I'm so proud of myself. And I think back then I did not really know it. I was like, oh yeah, I just passed it. But my parents were so proud of me because it was really expensive. Now, oh my God, it's so expensive. Oh Oh my god. But back in the day it was also really expensive, and every time you fail and you don't pass the exam, you had to pay again for lessons and the test and everything. So I think my parents were so relieved that I passed all of the exams, the tests, and so my father was like, okay, so as a reward, I want to take you to a perfumery and you can pick whatever you want as a perfume, because I was always into perfumes. But as I said, I never had the chance to have a designer perfume, let alone a niche perfume. That is why I had Coco Mademoiselle in my collection. I did not pay for it myself, and I still have the bottle. I wore actually a lot of that perfume, and nobody told me anything about it. They were like, oh yeah, that's totally normal for you to wear perfume like that. I don't know. But for me, that's such a heartwarming story, because I always think of my dad going with me to this perfumery and buying this for me, and it was such a special moment. So yeah, these were some of my nostalgic perfumes I still have in my collection. Let me know if you have like a perfume from your past in your collection, and why, and what exactly is it? What does it remind you of? And let me know if you want a part 2. I really love doing this video. Okay, I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!